Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once more. Welcome to this YouTube channel. It's Lorelari. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting me. Today, we want to discuss something about gender-based violence. And without further ado, I'll welcome my friend and colleague by the name Dr. Martin, who will be taking us through what is gender-based violence, in short GBV, and we will be discussing a lot about it. We want to understand what it is and what are some of the forms of gender-based violence, and how can we get help in case we fall victim or we fall victim of the same. So welcome, Dr. So, Dr. Martin, what is gender-based violence?
Okay.
Maybe let's start from there.
To our viewers, thank you once again for this session that we are here to discuss together and get some knowledge about some very crucial topic that we're going to discuss today. As you heard my host today asking me about GBV, what is GBV, and we are going to delve much into GBV and provide some information that I think shall be useful to our viewers and other people out here, maybe who are undergoing one form of GBV or another one, and they do not know what is GBV. To go straight on the point, GBV is an acronym for a term called gender-based violence. Yes. And now what is gender-based violence? Okay.
As so maybe you break it, we understand what is G, yeah. What is B, what is V.
So G
that
is
person who is lay outside there and they would want to really understand critically what it means.
As I was saying, G is for gender. As you know, gender is either you are a man or a woman. That is gender. Then best, it's something that is towards or geared in such a direction.
Sure.
Violence. So it's a violence that is perpetuated to a person against their will. Okay. Just because they are either a man or a woman.
The way they identify themselves.
Yes, the way they identify themselves. Yes.
Okay. Although I'm told these days we have other forms of gender, or not forms, other ways of how people identify themselves in terms of gender. But let's just focus on the two. Either man or a woman.
Yes.
So what is it in full? What is it really somebody would want to understand exactly what is gender-based violence? The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yes.
So the whole thing is as in this perspective and approach.
Yes.
Is where someone is perpetuating a harmful act to another person just because that person is either a man or a woman.
Sure.
Okay. So if it's a woman violating a man, it'll be violating because this is a man that's being violated.
Sure.
In most cases, the other way around, that men are causing some harm to women.
Sure.
Just because they're women and they're thought to be weaker gender. So therefore, they're just being denied some basic rights and being violated the essential rights, and that's why it's basically referred to as the gender-based.
Wow. So this needs to be separated. If it's a man violating a fellow man, it then never becomes violence.
It depends.
It depends.
Because we have gay relationships, okay?
Sure.
And this gay relationship, these guys are intimate. And we always have a he-she and a he in a gay relationship.
Okay.
So if this he in that gay relationship is violating the she in the relationship, that is an gender-based violence, which is referred to it as an intimate partner violence. We shall discuss it when we get to there, when we're discussing now among the types of gender-based violence.
Sure.
Yes.
Now, thank you so much for helping us understand critically what is gender-based violence in full. I would also want to us to discuss, or you help us, because I know you are very well equipped in that area. Maybe what are some of the forms of gender-based violence? Maybe we can break them in terms of the way they happen in terms of forms, so that our viewers and any other person outside there who doesn't know, maybe they are going through, they may be able to know the type of form of gender-based violence they are experiencing. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
We have so many types of gender-based violence, but I will go into the broader classification, maybe or different definition of this the gender-based violence. Number one, we have the physical gender-based violence.
Yes.
And in physical gender-based violence
Yes.
is where a person perpetrates a harmful act that causes some bodily harm and injury to the person because they are of a different gender. That can be a woman physically causing harm to a man. It's gender-based violence. That is physical gender-based violence. Or it can be a man physically causing harm to the woman. That becomes now a physical gender-based violence.
It becomes a form of.
But if it's me and you now fighting,
Yes.
that's not gender-based violence.
Sure.
Yes. But if it's me doing it to her because she's a woman, or a person doing it, the violence and physically assaulting and causing bodily harm to that particular
based on their gender,
that is
becomes
physical gender-based violence. Then we have also psychological gender-based violence.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, that's in fact that is the
from my personal to really get that one, because now, how does it happen psychologically?
Psychologically,
yes.
Remember, people get mental or psychological pain.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I do something to you to cause you psychological pain, just because you are the opposite gender from me,
yes,
then I'm causing you psychological gender-based violence. Okay, I'm violating you. Remember, and many people are undergoing this. Okay, I want to humiliate you and make you feel so bad for you being a woman, or you want to make me feel so bad. I feel it eats me up just because I'm a man.
Sure.
And you're a woman. That's gender-based violence. So when you are causing that mental harm, remember, many people after suffering gender-based violence, some of them develop what we call the PSSD, post-traumatic sexual disorder.
Sure.
It's a disorder that develops after a person have been violated. It's psychological.
Some of them develop that.
Yes, some of them develop that. So it is in the mind, it's the brain that actually has been affected, but no physical injury. It becomes a psychological, and most of that, it even makes someone change on how they behave.
Sure.
Okay, most of it might make someone after undergoing that violence for them to be also violent or to be so fearful.
Sure.
Okay, it's like as we say that a person has ever been bitten by a snake. When they see a rock, they will jump. Why? Because it is in the mind.
They develop that. They always develop that
panic and attack because it's psychologically they have been
gone through.
Yes.
So
and then
gone through physical, psychological, any other.
And then we have economical.
Really?
TBV. Yes.
Wow.
And you see, people are saying, how is it? How to say economy? As I was telling you, economical gender-based violence. How does it come in? Okay, we have had someone denying their partner that freedom for them to have some economical empowerment. Like, for example, I will tell my woman, you are not going to work. You will sit in this house. So I'm denying him a basic right of her at least going to earn something to be economically empowered. So I'm making her a slave of me.
Agenda.
Yes, I'm making not to go to work because she's a woman. Wow. Not to be empowered, not even to do business because she's a woman. That's gender. I'm violating her rights. It's a form of economical gender-based violence. So I don't want this woman to be empowered, or she doesn't want me to be empowered, because nowadays we have some women who have bentens and they're killed in the house. They don't want these young men to go and work. They want to be everything in that house. Or it's the other way around, men also keeping women in the house, not to do any other thing. So they become fully dependent on them for this guy to continue being like a slave.
Can we also give an example of, for example, cougar relationships where young men are married to older women?
Yes.
And by virtue of that, the older women now decides to violate them economically.
Exactly.
Because we are always told, big cougar, maybe they provide a lot to these young men. They decide to keep them and violate them economically.
That's true.
So that if they don't support them, or they don't empower them economically, the young people, the young men cannot move or cannot do something. So that could be one form of
Yes, economic
gender-based
yes,
violence. Okay.
Yes. So in any situation you see that one person, or it can be even a father, not allowing their girl child to go out and work and be empowered economically.
It's very important to know that.
It can be family member. Yes, of course, yes. So it's not only as far as a man and a woman, like in a relationship. It can be, I'm doing this to this girl to deny him the right because she's a girl.
Or elder siblings, denying younger siblings some rights. Yes. Based on their age. Or superiority in a family.
Yes. But in terms of age, again, it becomes with a thin thread. Because remember, we do not allow child labor as a country. I know. So if they're above 18 years, then you're denying them to go out, that becomes a gender-based. Because she's a girl and not wanting her to go out. Or because she's a young boy, 18, 20.
So the point here, it has to be gender, the gender of the person has to play a role. Yes. You are doing something wrong to a person. Yes. Because of their gender. Yes. That is what has to come to be involved. Okay. Yes.
Then lastly, and the most that I'm very curious about, because it's on the rampant, on the rise. Yeah. The form that I always like talking about it. Yeah. The sexual gender-based violence.
Actually, that's what we want. I think anybody listening or understanding gender-based violence, they'll always want to understand what is sexual. They'll pay more attention at sexual gender-based violence. Although I'm happy and I want to thank you for taking us through the other forms of violence, but let's delve so much deep into that one of sexual gender-based violence. Yes.
So, in the sexual gender-based violence, it's a wide thing, but I want to narrow it down just to talk about basically four things that are of essence for every other Kenyan to understand. Yeah. Okay, right. The first one is an intimate partner violence. Wow. What I mean by intimate partner, this is violence among people that have an intimate relationship. Wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend. They're having a sexual relationship. So either in that relationship violating the other one, it becomes an intimate partner violence. Okay. You see, nowadays we have casualized things. Sure. When I slap my wife, it's just normal. Yeah. Because like it's my wife. It's my wife. That is very, very wrong. Sure. That is an intimate partner violence. Nobody has a right. However much she provokes you or however much he provokes you, you are not supposed to do any physical violence, harm to this particular person. Okay? Because that's against this. It doesn't matter. Even if you are provoked, it doesn't matter.
You are intimate.
It doesn't matter. You are not allowed by any means to lay your hand on the other person physically because you feel entitled in their life.
So, Doc, can we say maybe some people are suffering in marriages, especially this intimate, the one you're talking about? You say it is
intimate partner violence.
Yes. Maybe people in marriages could be undergoing violence of this form, but they rarely say. For example, during intimate, they are forced to do some things that they have not paid consent to, or they are not ready to have. But because they are maybe in a marriage setup, or they are in a relationship, those cases go unreported.
So I want to come in and just bring it in a simplest way that any person can understand. All right?
Yes.
So in intimate partner violence,
yes,
it is people in a sexual relationship violating each other. Wow. Okay? It can be physical, whatever. Okay?
But they are
in a relation.
Okay.
In a relationship. Okay. Then another thing is rape. It's very common. Okay?
So this rape is It's also a form of.
It's a form of sexual gender.
Or it's
based.
under sexual
It's
gender.
under sexual
based
gender
violence.
based
Is that
violence.
is now not? It's under the full umbrella of gender-based violence, but now this one is specifically
rape.
sexual. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Under
The bigger topic here is gender-based violence.
Okay.
And as remember, as we began,
Yeah.
we said that gender-based violence is where someone
Mm-hmm.
is causing some harm,
To
either
the opposite
physically,
gender.
socially, emotionally, to the other person, just because.
Of their gender orientation.
Yes. Then when we come, now we broke down and we say we have physical, psychological, economical, and sexual gender-based violence.
So under sexual gender.
Now under sexual gender violence.
That's where we have
intimate partner violence, we have rape, we have defilement, then have indecent act.
Talk about rape.
Now let us come about rape.
Yeah.
First of all, let us understand what is rape.
Sure.
Okay,
It's
because
very important.
many people, like a question you asked me, I'll come back to it. So rape is an act of penetrating, okay, one's sexual organ without consent.
Wow.
Penetrating without
Consent.
And nowadays, remember, we have a third, we have second and third sexual organ.
Yeah,
remember?
Sure. Yeah.
Initially, we knew
Yeah.
either the vagina or the penis or the sexual organs.
Yes.
But nowadays, the anal orifice is also
Yes.
then the mouth. Okay.
Sure.
So by any virtue that one person penetrates the mouth, the anus, or the vagina
without
consent
of the opposite gender.
That's
already
rape.
Wow.
And remember, in this,
Yeah.
rape from the beginning to the end, it has nothing to discuss there. It's wrong. It's
completely.
Be it your girlfriend.
Against our statutory laws.
Even I was just coming and saying this. Yeah?
Yes.
Even if it's your girlfriend,
Yeah.
it's your boyfriend,
Yes.
it's your wife, or it's a person you do not know, rape is bad.
As long as there's no
consent.
Technically, even your own partner can sue you.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And that is now where you asked me something there was.
Yeah.
Like, people ask me, Dr. Can I rape my wife? Can I rape my wife? Yes. If she has told you no, it's no. When you go forward because your wife and force yourself into her,
Yes.
rape case, you should be taken in.
to your husband.
Yes.
If your husband is not ready and they see
But now that is
you
where.
divorce them.
But you see now that is where it becomes. The law now does not become.
I know there's a lot of technicalities there.
Because now,
even
if that man now goes to clear that he was
Yeah.
there, how would you prove the man was there?
Oh yeah, sure.
Something to
needs
think about.
something that needs to be researched.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that is rape.
sure.
And in rape, we can have an individual rape or a gang rape.
Yeah, that's one.
And I'm just going to delve on it very slow so that people can understand.
Yeah.
So, in individual rape is
Yes.
where one person have sex with another person of different gender without
Consent.
their consent.
Sure.
It's an individual. Then we have what we call a gang rape.
That's understood.
A gang rape is where more than two people
Sure.
are having sex with one woman without her consent. To become a gang rape.
Sure.
And nowadays, it is on the racket. There is something that is it's called the local parties, especially for the young kids.
Yes.
You find the young turks after the close schools,
Yeah,
campus,
yeah,
then they
yeah,
come,
sure.
they organize,
Yes.
their house party. They turn it into a sex orgy.
Yes.
You find 2-3 ladies having sex with 10, but they are happy about it. That is wrong. That is, you're raping that woman.
Sure.
Because how can 4 men drown on a woman,
Yeah.
saying that you're having pleasure?
Sure.
That is, you're raping this woman, and you should be taken even to court and be jailed.
Sure.
Okay. So there is individual rape or gang rape.
Sure.
And remember, even if it's your girlfriend,
Sure.
you have consented, or your woman you have consented,
Mhm.
you are having sex. At any point she says, I feel uncomfortable, no, then she withdraws consent.
Yeah.
If you continue,
Yeah.
it is a crime. You have to stop immediately. The consent is withdrawn. You have to stop.
So
If you consent,
it can
it
be
can be-
verbal. It can
It's
be
verbal.
Okay.
Here it's talking about verbal consent.
Sure.
If she says to stop, I'm not comfortable, you stop, you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
Even if you're almost getting to your gear 5,
Yeah.
please put in a clutch,
Yeah. Stop
hold the
there.
brakes, and stop
Stop
there.
there.
Yes. Okay?
Nice.
There is also what we call defilement.
Yeah.
I want to talk about defilement.
Yeah. Very important.
Okay.
Very important.
And all that I want us to understand in the Kenyan setup.
Yeah.
In the Kenyan setup, it describes a child to be any person under the age of 18. That's a child.
Okay. They will sometimes call them minors.
Yes, they are minors.
A minor is a different one.
A minor, okay, a minor, they are basically minors.
Okay.
They are minors because they are underage.
Yeah.
Okay? So, in terms of defilement,
Yeah.
any person who engages knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly,
yes,
with any person that is less than 18 years, that is defilement.
Wow. Be it male or female.
It doesn't matter. That's defilement.
And also caveat there, the person engaging has to be older than.
Yes.
Because now the standard age in, for example, Kenyan government is below 18 years.
Yeah, you see,
we have seen some countries, they call some minors, maybe above 12 or 15 years. Those are emancipated minors, like they can make consent. But for our Kenyan law,
for some services.
For some services, not for.
So when you talk about emancipated or mature minors,
yes,
these are young girls, 15 years, less than 18, 15 to 18,
sure, that
already have had a child.
Okay.
When they're coming for some services, like for example, they're coming for family planning.
Yes.
They're coming for HIV test.
Sure.
They are coming for ANC clinic.
It's good to differentiate.
Yes. They are minors, you'll offer them services.
Because they are emancipated.
They are mature
that
minors.
Category.
Okay? But when it comes to sexual intercourse,
yeah,
they are, even if she has a baby, but she is less than 18 years,
yes,
she's still a kid. And that child is like a 66 kV electrical line.
Wow.
The way you do not touch it, please do not touch a minor.
Okay.
It's that central.
Our viewers are.
I hope you understand. I'm saying this, right?
Sure.
You may take it lightly because you see, we have casualized things in our society.
Yeah.
That we are seeing having sex with kids, it's just something, and it's something that is coming on the rise.
Yeah.
But please understand, as far as the law is concerned, okay, any child less than 18 years,
yes,
is a no-go zone, is a hands-off. However beautiful, however sex, however you want to describe them, however willing, however they entice you, however they want to lure you, please run very fast, as your legs can carry you. That is defilement.
Alright.
Another common thing that people nowadays do not understand,
yes,
is call it an indecent act. It's very common.
Yeah.
You find you're walking on a street, someone sees a beautiful girl, they deliberately goes to brush shoulders on their breast or spank them or hold their ass.
Sure,
okay?
Sure. You can be sued.
Yes, you can be sued. Because remember, this lady has not consented for you.
To do that.
Yes, you are doing that to harass her, to violate her, to cause emotional distress. Just okay. I hope women are listening to me and are seeing me.
Yeah.
Just imagine my sister, my friend, my colleague. Someone coming to you and touching your boobs without your consent. How do you feel there? And later on, to always hound you. Sure. How do you feel someone coming and grasping your ass without their consent on the street? It will always live to hound you. And that is part of psychological gender-based violence. So when somebody goes and does an act
that is
provocative to the other person that they are consent, that is
the opposite gender.
Sure.
Without consent. It becomes
indecent act. Yes. And we should basically understand that when you're going to a matatu, when you're seeing a beautiful lady sitting beside you,
yes,
please do not try to make yourself too big on that seat. So just you can just touch either their thighs or their hips.
It's wrong.
It's very wrong.
Wow.
It's very wrong.
Wow.
Let us give people their respect. Even if you see a young man, very, very nice, with the six-pack, please keep your distance. Don't pretend like you want some assistance, because you see now these things happen.
Yeah.
You find someone coming like the one, your assistants, then they just want to brush you with the boobs so that you feel excited. Intentionally. Indecent act.
Sure.
Please stop that. It's wrong.
Wow.
It's wrong.
Wow. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Dr. Martin.
Yes, then I asked me a question I want to forget about.
Yeah.
Then you asked me that how will people now get help on how?
Yes, that's what I was coming to.
Yes.
As I tell my viewers, this guy, Dr. Martin, really has a lot of knowledge in matters health and various programs. He has talked about HIV another day. We have so many we need to do with him, and now we have been doing about we are on sexual gender-based violence and gender-based violence. So we want to know, after all this is said and done, these things are happening in our communities, in our workplaces, in many areas we are. How are we? What are we supposed to do in case we become victim, or in one way or the other, or we know victims? What are we supposed to do?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. And just to come in, for the sake of the dignity of that person who has undergone the violence.
Yes.
Nowadays, we do not want to cause even more negative impression on them.
Yeah.
We refer to them as survivors,
Sure.
not victims nowadays. So for any survivor of any violence, okay?
Yes.
How does she go about it? There are so many people out here willing and ready to help.
Sure.
But only need to do one thing. Please speak it out to the loudest of your voice.
Yeah.
When you're being violated, then you're keeping quiet, thinking I cannot get help.
Yeah.
For sure not get help. Why? Because the help will not know that you need help.
Sure.
And there's so many people out here. Okay? Yeah. So, when you have been violated, and thank God you have not been killed,
yes,
you are still alive.
Yes.
Number one, your safety as at that moment going hence becomes paramount.
Sure.
So the first thing is, when you have been violated, please speak out and go to the nearest public health facility.
And that
you will
I
be assisted.
I need you to help us know here.
Yes.
The period you're supposed to take between when such a bad act happens to you and going to the public health facility is we need to know that, because now that's where, medically, from the medical environment, we need to encourage our viewers and people watching this. They know you're supposed to give some things priority at this particular time, so that you don't waste time. You don't also go around like taking too much time to the extent that we may not have to have enough evidence, because in medical we rely on evidences and we do a lot of tests. Some tests are supposed to be done within a particular period of time before evidence is lost. So that's where I want you to elaborate.
So I want to come there and say, in handling with GBV, we always advocate for the survivor coming to the facility as soon as possible.
Sure.
The time they feel they are comfortable, they can come.
Sure.
But remember, justice never runs.
Sure.
A person can come even 5 years down the line and
evidences.
They come and claim, and the due process will be investigated, then they will get justice. For example, a young girl was sexually abused. She got pregnant. And by that particular time, she could not speak out for themselves.
Sure.
They are coming 5 years down the line. When they are 18, 20, they can speak for themselves.
Sure.
They are coming to report at the police station that I was violated this.
When I was.
Yes.
And they have every evidence.
There is evidence.
They already
were raped. They have a baby.
Sure.
So if it is 5 years or 6 years, that case is alive, it will be hard.
Sure.
But for the sake of now getting the best, because remember that particular point, if you're coming 5 years down the line, what if that person had infections?
Sure.
Like HIV,
like
yes, like you had a broken leg during the
and even that pregnancy, maybe we would have avoided it.
Yes.
Reported on time.
So the earlier the better. Sure. But even if you do not come early, please come and speak out.
Sure.
So that you can get your justice at the end of the day, regardless of all. Sure. So, but what we need to do is for the sake of us, giving as healthcare workers. Remember, survivors case. It's a multidisciplinary issue.
I
It's
really
not a
wanted
one
also
person.
you to go there.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because that survivor needs, number one, primarily,
Sure.
medical attention to prevent any further harm from happening. That is now the primary thing. Because once this survivor has been safeguarded from further harm, he can pursue other things. He'll go now to the legal.
Sure.
To the legal, he will go and report to the police. The police will take up the case. They will do what they need to do, investigate, then go to the ODPP. The ODPP will do what? Will prosecute the court. The police will give evidence. Then the relevant people will come in.
The medical.
Yes.
People
Yes, who also, when called upon
to
come and give our evidence, we shall come and give that particular evidence.
And so by the way, we are mandated, even they are mandated to give that evidence in full in court.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is what happens.
Sure.
So the survivor has to come in the facility.
Sure.
And what we advise.
So the starting point,
yes,
find yourself, just try to speak out and make sure you
come
find
and
yourself
get
in a health facility
to prevent any further harm.
Sure.
That is number one. When you come, we advocate. If it's you have been sexually violated, please, we advocate for you. Come after you have not taken a shower.
Okay.
Come after you have not changed your clothes.
Critical.
So that when you are getting the evidence for examination, we'll be able to get it first hand and hands-on. But once you go home, take a shower, change your clothes, get the hugs and comforting taps from the relative and friends. Remember, they're destroying the evidence. They're introducing their genes on you and their DNA on you. So when you're coming to do the test by the forensic experts, it becomes difficult because there is DNA of so many people and it destroys the evidence. So please come and avoid contact with people, especially with bare hands, so that you should not destroy the evidence. So that when you're coming here, for the sake of your justice, because remember, me as a healthcare worker, I'll give you safety from any further bodily harm as far as health is concerned. And that is where my role ends. Then after there, if the court wants to know from when I'm examining this patient, what did I find, they'll call me to give my evidence. But my role as a healthcare worker is only to treat and prevent an infection from this particular and any further harm. So please come the earliest possible, even if you will see that you don't have any physical injury. There is the mental aspect that you have to take care of it, because it will hound you if it will be taken through things like trauma counseling. And yes, reassurance. Yes. Okay. And for the same, we have very important people in our community. They are called community social workers. They're our primary source of help. Because remember, some of these perpetrators of violence are people within our families, are people in our neighborhood, people living in the same house. They're the one violating you. So if you do not speak up, you will be violated and violated. They need to know you can be violated even by your clothes. Your father can violate you, your brother can violate you, your uncle can violate you, grandfather can, they can all violate. Your house manager. They can violate you. They all can violate. We have seen situations where people, and the rampant one is, I feel so bad. If you do not love that woman with her child, please just let that woman go. Many people are taking advantage and abusing the children of the wife just because it's not their blood. It's very wrong. That child of your wife is your child as long as you're living together. We've had so many cases. I've personally handled so many cases of stepdad sexually violating those younger and threatening them with a knife or stopping to pay for them school fees or doing something. If they speak up, please speak up. If it's education you're fearing about, God will take care of it. But why should you live in that environment that is affecting your life now and for future, just for the virtue you fear that he'll kill, and yet he cannot even kill? Or somebody will rot in jail. Yes. Somebody was saying in Swahili, in some forum I was, about gender-based violence, and even specifically sexual gender-based violence. Yes. And what they were saying is that the purpose of us, the health sector and even multi-sectoral sectors that are involved in the cause of curbing gender-based violence, is to try and help
And ultimately, we want to deal with the people we call WASHENZI, because in Swahili we call them WASHENZI, the ones who participate in these acts, especially those ones who defile maybe children, and even those other ones who do all other forms of gender-based violence. In Swahili, there's an organization that has come up in partnership with the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
We are calling them kushughulikia hao washenzi. And in fact, what they were saying, we should help the people we call washenzi to go and wakule maharagwe ya serikali huko kwa jela. That's where they belong. In short, it means we are supposed to make sure that these perpetrators find their place in the society. For example, if they are supposed to find their place in jail, let them be in jail. We even have others who are maybe mentally disturbed. They need to be also helped, because some victims, some perpetrators do it because they have mental challenge, and they are unstable mentally. So they also need to be helped. So having said that, Dr. Martin, I really appreciate your time and the amount of content you are giving here. For our viewers, I'll just tell them to, if you want more of this and you want more of this educational information, especially around those topics we discussed with Dr. Martin, you can write us an email on itslorelari@gmail.com. We will link you with Dr. Martin, and even us. We can come to where you are, whether it's an organization, it's an institution where you have workers, or you have people, or schools, or even other social places. You have people you want them to be talked to about gender-based violence and all other forms of gender-based violence and what they can do. We even, during those extensive talks, we issue contacts in terms of when you experience that, or when you have victims of similar thing, what do you do? The numbers you're supposed to call. So thank you so much, viewers and everyone, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe for this video. And always God bless you. We are growing slowly by slowly, and we hope we get there together. Thank you so much. Bye.